Theories of psychic fragmentation. Internal family systems. Similar to the theory of structural dissociation is the internal family systems model, IFS. IFS was developed by Richard C. Schwartz and combines the idea of a system of parts with the view that the psyche is composed of relatively discrete subpersonalities, each with its own characteristics like perspective, viewpoint, memories, interests, and other personality traits. A core belief in IFS is that each part is striving for a positive goal within the system, like survival and preservation of the psyche. As such, IFS promotes cooperation and harmony between different psychic parts, fostering internal connection through acceptance. IFS uses family systems theory to understand the way in which these subpersonalities are organized. Family systems theory posits that the arrangement of subpersonalities within the system is informed by the interplay between external family members, acknowledging that identity forms in response to interactive relationships between an individual and their environment, especially their family of origin. In IFS, different parts can have either extreme roles or healthy roles. Parts with extreme roles commonly engage in maladaptive coping skills, and part of IFS therapy is aimed at helping these parts learn new, healthy coping skills. In the internal family systems model of psychic fragmentation, the psyche is divided into 3 types of subpersonalities, called managers, exiles, and firefighters. Managers are parts that hold roles of preemptive protection. These parts are sometimes referred to as protectors or protector parts. Managers exert control upon interactions with the external world in order to prevent traumatic experiences from occurring and to prevent past traumatic experiences from being triggered into conscious awareness. Managers also enforce the containment of parts of the psyche that hold awareness of traumatic experiences, known as exiles. Exiles are similar to the concept of emotional parts and Jung's concept of the inner child. They are parts that acknowledge emotions such as fear, pain, shame, anger, or other strong emotions prompted by traumatic events, and contain these emotions from the rest of the psyche. These parts are exiled from consciousness to prevent their traumatic emotions from being felt by other psychic parts. The containment of these exiled parts is enforced by managers, along with a part called firefighters. Firefighters are parts that emerge when exiled parts become uncontained and break into conscious awareness. These parts are sometimes referred to as persecutors or malevolent protectors. In a sense, firefighters put out fires within the psyche. They work to distract attention from traumatic material, usually by engaging in impulsive and compulsive, and oftentimes self-destructive behaviors. According to IFS, the self is a person's true self or spiritual center distinguished from other parts of the psyche. I use the term self and sense of self in this manner. Even individuals whose experience is dominated by parts have access to this self, and can learn to connect to their sense of self in order to stay grounded in the present. IFS considers the self to have innate qualities of curiosity, connectedness, compassion, and calmness. In IFS therapy, an individual is assisted in accessing the self. The self can then connect with other psychic parts and help them to heal, allowing all parts to learn to work together and collaborate in harmony, led by the self. According to IFS, there are 3 primary types of relationships between psychic parts, referred to as protection, polarization, and alliance. Protection is provided by both managers and firefighters, and is intended to spare exiles from harm while protecting other psychic parts from awareness of exiles. Polarization occurs when 2 parts are battling one another to determine how to feel or behave in reaction to an experience, and generally requires negotiation. Finally, alliance is formed when parts are working together towards a goal. Overall, IFS aims to establish a trusting, cooperative relationship between the self and other psychic parts. IFS aims for alliance between all psychic parts, led by the self. IFS also recognizes the spiritual nature of the self, allowing this model to assist in development of spirituality along with integration of the personality. Theories of psychic fragmentation. Carl Jung's collective unconscious. I find Carl Jung's theories about the psyche's inner constructs useful for understanding my psychic fragmentation. According to Jung, our subconscious mind contains a structure common to all humans, called the collective unconscious. The unconscious psyche contains instincts that drive reactions and is populated with symbolic archetypes that represent aspects of the overall psyche. Some of the symbolic archetypes Jung outlined include the anima, animus, inner child, and shadow. According to Jung, the overall psyche, which Jung calls the self, and I refer to as the psyche, is androgynous in nature, and contains traits deemed both masculine and feminine. The anima denotes an inner personality that holds traits deemed feminine, and the animus refers to an inner personality that holds traits deemed masculine. In life, we unconsciously reflect our sense of self and gender identity by enhancing qualities which characterize our gender and suppressing those that don't. Suppressed qualities form into the anima and animus, which reside in the inner world as the medium between the self and the subconscious realm. As a person develops the capacity for relationships and emotional connections, an individual is naturally compelled to address emotions, vulnerability, and needs. According to Jung's theory, these aspects of experience, emotionality, awareness of needs, vulnerability, are strengths of the anima. Inner parts like the anima or animus can have a positive or negative manifestation upon the overall psyche or self. This difference is based upon whether they are accepted or rejected as parts of the psyche. For example, an accepted anima leads to the ability to express positive attributes of emotionality, relatedness, friendship, commitment, love, nurturing, compassion, consideration, patience, and intuition. A rejected anima may express negatively as moodiness, hysteria, sensitivity to hurt feelings, or withdrawal from loved ones. According to Jung's theory of the collective unconscious, the anima is concerned with matters of soul, sensuality, and aesthetics. She is more aware internally of her beliefs and feelings compared to the animus, who is less aware of these aspects of experience. An animus is concerned with matters of rationality and reason. An accepted animus can express positively as a sense of vitality, physical power, assertiveness, audacity, courage, romance, intellectualization, knowledge, and an ability to use one's voice. When accepted, the animus is also a messenger of the subconscious and can help with matters of spirituality and meaning-making. A rejected animus may express negatively as being stubborn, judgmental, critical, easily frustrated, or angered, and can lead to an excessive rational drive and the repression of emotions over intellect. Jung outlines other parts of the psyche that hold repressed aspects of experience. The psychic construct known as the inner child denotes the childlike aspect within the psyche and includes the awareness and experiences from before puberty. According to Jung, the inner child is a semi-independent entity, subordinate to the waking conscious mind. Jung also describes an area of the psyche called the shadow. The shadow is the unknown dark side of the personality. It is an unconscious aspect of the personality which is not consciously identified as part of one's self. The shadow can also refer to the unconscious in entirety, everything of which a person is not fully conscious. The shadow can contain traits deemed negative or positive, given they are repressed and unconscious. These psychic constructs, the anima, animus, inner child, and shadow, remain within the subconscious as repressed parts of the self until they are accepted. These psychic parts need acknowledgement and acceptance in order for an individual to know and accept their whole self. This process of accepting all parts of the psyche is called the individuation process, Jung's idea of self-actualization. Individuation is a process undertaken throughout life. It denotes acceptance of all psychic parts and all aspects of experience. In this episode, I have discussed dissociation and psychic fragmentation in terms of the internal family systems model, and in terms of Carl Jung's theory of psychic archetypes and the collective unconscious, the structure of the psyche shared across humanity. I hope you have found this information useful, and thank you very much for listening.